Yeah, hey, drop.
Prime Coverage Sports Network. Real coverage, real conversation.
What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, and it's time for the third episode, number 3 of the Lockdown Coverage Podcast. Mike Tipton hanging out with my dude Blake and my guy Wegs. We got a lot to talk about this week, y'all. We had the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. There was a ton of snow in one area and then absolutely perfect weather in the other area. And I don't know if you would have expected it to be that way whenever you started everything. But let's talk about the AFC Championship game first here. The Denver Broncos at home without Bo Nix. Blake, you know I'm coming at you, my guy. You thought Stidham was going to be able to do it. On that first drive, I was already about to write my apology to you. I was like, oh, my God, Stidham is that guy. And then the rest of the game played here. Denver winds up losing 10-7 against the New England Patriots. Blake, are you here to capitulate, or are you still going to – do you still have faith in Jarrett Stidham in the future? Is he going to be signed by somebody?
I mean, I'm not necessarily saying, he's going to be signed or anything, but I think he did an awesome job, not being able to have that many fully regular season starts and then just getting thrown into an AFC Championship game and, dude, just do whatever. Here you go. Here's your spot. Time to shine. I think he did pretty good. Threw a touchdown, only had one interception. Not saying he played better than C.J. Stroud, but, he obviously looked a little better than him. He only threw one interception, had one turnover. But, it's an AFC Championship game, so he threw for 133 yards. He was 17 for 31 on his catch per attempts. But he was sacked 3 times for 31 yards. So, I think the offensive line kind of, if they would have been a little bit stronger, that obviously kind of would have helped. But they obviously didn't get any run game going either. R.J. Harvey their leading rusher had 13 carries for 37 yards. And his average was 2.8 yards. They were just kind of basically throwing in their stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Just make the best of it, honestly. But the Patriots, I think Drake May looked pretty good. He was a pretty solid quarterback, but I like it. I like where the Patriots are headed. I can say, things could have been different if the Broncos had their starting QB also too. That's a game changer. If you throw Bo Nix into the play, okay, what really would have happened? But you can't really do that because he had his injury and all that other stuff. So who knows what that would have looked like? But I did like the matchup. It was a pretty good matchup. I do like the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. Honestly, I'll let you hit it, Biggs.
Where's I'm the kind of dude. I love weather games. You put me in a snow game, I'm a happy guy. As long as I get to be on my big fat butt watching it at home, I'm a happy guy. Right, if I got to look at this in the stadium, I'm hating life. What were your thoughts about that game? Once again, the Patriots going into Denver, defeating the Broncos 10-7. The snow really caused that score, y'all. Oh, yeah. You good defense, but it was the snow that caused that snow. I got a good nap in the second and the third quarter. Got a little action in the fourth quarter. What were your thoughts, Wags?
Bottom line is Peyton called a great game in the first half. I will contend, Blake, you cannot turn the ball over like that in the playoffs. He gave the touchdown to the Patriots. I don't care what he was doing. Just take the sack, dude. Take the sack. Don't do that little shovel, whatever the hell he was doing. Maybe it was tipped, whatever. But in the end, it was a tale of two halves. Peyton was in his bag. He was calling the right plays. I do think he should have kicked a field goal, but that's me. Put points on the board. I guess you don't know the snow was coming. And in the second half, the Patriots did just enough to win. And in the end, because they got the field goal before the whole whiteout, the game was essentially over. It's kind of a bummer because Denver's D played very well in the game. They only gave up a few big plays. I knew in the second half, Drake May was going to start using his legs as he should have, and he made some big plays down the stretch. But Stidham just didn't have enough. And, not just the interception at the end of the game. I just think that he wasn't dialed in, and obviously he hadn't played in a couple of years, but the game changed with the snow. They couldn't do what they couldn't do, and then without running the ball in that quagmire, the game was essentially over. So I love snow games too. I've seen a bunch. I was thinking about when, Patriots lit up the Chargers for some, 50 points one time, but apparently in this matchup with the win, they couldn't even kick a field goal. But in the end, hey, Patriots earned it. I knew Denver was going to be a long shot, but I will tell you, Denver covered the spread. I told you guys that last week that would happen, and it came way under.
So there you go. If you put money on Denver to cover the spread, you are a happy person. I live in Texas. We don't have betting in Texas. So thanks, Texas. Get it together. Come on. You got to allow us to have a little bit of fun over here. So
yes.
I thought that whenever you saw that game, that the snow would actually help out Stidham, right? Like all he had to do was just be a manager, right? Drop the ball down, hand the ball off to your running game. But you also saw how dominant the Patriots defense can be. I know it's aided by weather, it's all this other stuff like that, but they're going to be a tough team to put out because of that defense, right?
Right. Their run defense is really good. It's a really good run defense. And if you can't do the play action or do short passes to get, to beat that pressure, then you're in trouble.
Go ahead, they held R.J. Harvey, like I said earlier, to 13 carries at 37 yards. That just shows you, like you're saying, how good their run stop defense can be, and their defense can be, And then putting pressure on, even though Stidham was a backup quarterback, they did put pressure on him to make the throws where it's like, okay, now I'm in this situation. Now I'm under pressure. Now, like you were saying, instead of just throw the ball out of bounds. Throw the ball out of bounds. Get rid of the ball.
Right.
Don't just throw double coverage.
Yeah,
you don't want to.
I just feel like early in the game they passed on a field goal. The more points on the board would have been better. I know it's 4th and 1. I know what he's thinking. I can go up 2 touchdowns, and then this game's in my defense's hands. But in the end, you needed to be on top in that game. You need to be able to, even if you're not running the ball well, you need to be able to chew clock and make the Patriots make plays. And they made a couple good ones, but they still only scored. I look at it, they only scored 3 points on offense because the other touchdown was what they get the ball within the 10-yard line when he made that boneheaded play. But it's just like the Stroud play the week before. Patriots have benefited from big turnovers and big spots. And, hey, they took advantage of it. I give them credit. They won the game. They're going to the Super Bowl. But we'll talk next week about the actual matchup against the other team.
And I think that's one of the things that's going to be overstated is how easy the schedule was for the Patriots leading up into this, right? What was it, the 30th easiest schedule in the NFL this year? So they had an easy route in the regular season. You get C.J. Stroud, who I don't think any of us had faith in whenever he was playing over there. You're aided by 2 weather games, right? You had snow and in both against Houston and against Denver. You had Jared Stidham's the guy that you have to beat in the AFC Championship game to get there. And I feel like this Super Bowl, before we get to that, let's talk about the other game that was out there.
Sure.
The Seattle Seahawks at home with a 31-27 win over the LA Rams, and what I thought was a fun game. The second half of that game was just nonstop action. It was so much fun. Blake, what were your thoughts on that? Give us some stats. What did you see in that game?
Like I told y'all last week, Seahawks. Yes, the second half, like you were saying, it was a fun second half. That second half was really, the difference maker. Obviously you have the home field advantage when you're the Seahawks because there were almost record peaks of, the quake levels that they had there, of how loud it got when he opened the game with the kickoff return for a touchdown. That was pretty cool. I will say that was pretty cool. That opened the game and let the Rams know, hey, look, we're here and we're here to play. I did like the Seahawks defense. They did show up pretty good. They didn't necessarily look as good as I thought they were going to be, but they still held up and they still did their job and they still got the job done at the end of the game and they still managed to win. Sam Darnold did pretty good. He was 25 for 36 for catch attempts. He was 346 yards passing, 9.6, almost 10 yards on average every time he threw the ball. That's pretty good. And with 3 touchdowns,
pretty
0
good. That's really good.
interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 0 interceptions and 3 sacks for 25 yards. So he didn't do too bad as far as letting them pressure him and get in the mix of that. And like we talked about last week, when you start putting pressure on Sam Darnold, on a guy who's had 3 or 4 different teams, and it's a difference. If it comes down to a difference as far as being that type of quarterback when you have a veteran guy on the other side playing, and this is like, okay, we really have to step it up. Let's not throw the ball into double coverage. Let's get down, manage the game like you're talking about, like Jarrett Stidham should have done. Manage the game. Let's get ahead and let's stay ahead because you have home field advantage on top of being at home. So, I do like the Seahawks, and yeah, they look good. I really did. And the Rams, honestly, I mean, the Seahawks just came out being a better team, just ended up winning.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 big stats for me, Mike. 2 big stats. 1, turnover. They muffed the punt. That was the biggest play in the game. They had a chance. They were down at halftime, meaning the Rams 17-13. They get the stop they need to get the ball. The guy falls on his booty and drops the ball on his face. There's a touchdown right there for Seattle. That made a 2-score game. Then it made the Rams chase. They abandoned the run game and they were just chasing. And the other ones, the Rams were 1 of 8 on 3rd down all game. And you've got to be able to convert on 3rd down. They did have that big 4th down run by Stafford to get that 4th and 1, which he never runs, but he did. But they got stopped on the last one. Whereas Seattle was 7 for 13 on 3rd down, even though they kind of got stalled on some drives and some penalties and got backed up and could have maybe scored some more. I thought they really controlled the football game. And if they didn't give that stupid, unsportsmanlike conduct play that allowed the Rams to get that other touchdown, they could have probably opened the game up and been coasting in the 4th quarter, but we had to hang on to our hats and watch them close out. I thought the stars came to play in this game. Everybody had big games. JSN, 153 yards and a touch. Walker, 111 total yards and a touch. Stafford had 374 and 3. Pook had 165. Adams, 89. They both had touchdowns. It was what we wanted. It was kind of like a Super Bowl game to me in terms of the caliber of the football teams out there.
And I feel like that's the thought for a lot of people, right? Like a lot of people are out here thinking that the NFC Championship game is the de facto Super Bowl because I think everyone's leaning on the Seattle Seahawks being the better all-around team. Once again, we'll talk about that another time. We're not talking about that today. Okay, we got weeks that we can talk about the Super Bowl. We can talk about the Pro Bowl today. That's what we need to be talking about. But
Shedeur Sanders,
man, that's gonna be fun. Right?
Yeah.
But so I look at this game and I see how well Sam Darnold played, and it went against what I thought was going to be the key to victory for the Seahawks, right? Like I thought the Seahawks were going to have to run the ball, not give Sam Darnold as many chances as possible. He's out here going 25 of 36 for 346 yards. He was balling, like just it was balling.
Oh yeah.
We're not used to seeing this from Sam Darnold. I think he's kind of proven a lot of people wrong on this run that he's had the last couple of years.
And Mike, like I was telling you last week, whenever we were talking, we were all talking about how this game was kind of going to end up going into play. We were all like you just said, if they allowed Kenneth Walker to run all over them, then you have those plays where you can open the door for Sam Darnold, let him make his QB decisions. But they didn't have that. Kenneth Walker only ran for 19 carries for 62 yards. So he did his job. Yes, he did do his job, and he did do good because he got a touchdown, but he was only averaging 3.3 yards a carry. So Sam Darnold kind of led into, okay, is he going to be a game changer or a game manager? And I'm not necessarily saying he's a game changer, but I think he's a little bit of both. I think even if we've seen him a little bit in distress, we've seen him play where he's been as far as under pressure. I mean, obviously they got 3 sacks for 25 yards. So I mean, they were pressuring him. I'm not necessarily saying all game, but I think Sam Darnold can be their quarterback that they've been looking for to replace since getting rid of Russell Wilson. honestly.
If he doesn't see the ghosts, right? Whatever he saw was with the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best friend of a quarterback is the run game and the offensive line. Those two things are his best friends. And if you've got a line like this that can protect you against a ferocious defense, and you can run the ball enough. I mean, the Rams did the right thing. Stop the run, make Darnold beat you. The problem is they couldn't cover JSN, and then late they couldn't cover Cooper Kupp. So I like seeing it. He was in that great quarterback class. You had, Baker and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and a couple of things I wanted to say. You realize he's only 28 years old. He's a full year younger than Josh Allen. He's 2 years younger than Baker Mayfield. So he maybe needed a little more time to mature, maybe stay in college another year. But once he went to San Francisco and saw the system of a real system under Shanahan, and obviously last year with KOC, he's a different quarterback. He's going through his progressions well. Hopefully he just doesn't have a meltdown like he did last year in the Minnesota, and they just kind of blitzed the house against him with Detroit. So we'll see. He's got the big game. He proved he could play against a great team against the Rams, but he's got one more to do it.
Right, yeah.
It's a Lockdown podcast right here on the Prime Coverage Sports Network. Got my dude Blake the Goat hanging out with us. We got Wegs here. I'm Mike Tipton. We are going to be here every single Tuesday doing our thing, talking about the NFL. Even during the offseason, we're talking about the NFL. Damn it, it's going to happen no matter what. We'll force feed you our thoughts on the NFL. I was on my show yesterday. I have another show. It's called The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. If you all want to show me a little bit of love on those places, at Mr. Tipton 33 on all my social media. And you see in the comment section over here, Augustine Pimentel, he's one of my co-hosts on the show, so we always hang out, have ourselves a good time. And we spoke about that yesterday as well, how important it was for Sam Darnold to get away from the Jets and the Carolina Panthers. Let's not forget that he was in Carolina for a while as well.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever he was in those situations, there weren't weapons for him to use. There weren't, they didn't have an offensive line. They didn't have a coaching staff. They didn't have any of this. He goes over to, I think, is the best head coach, quarterback coach in the NFL in Kyle Shanahan, learns what it's like you said, Wegs, to be in a good system, goes over to Kevin O'Connell with what he's got in Minnesota, has some great weapons in Minnesota. You saw the value of Sam Darnold this year with what they did with J.J. McCarthy juxtaposed to what Sam Darnold did with the Seattle Seahawks. Now he's in Seattle with, again, weapons around him, a solid offensive line. I love this type of comeback story because all of us, I'm guilty of it myself, had written Sam Darnold off. I said it last week. He looks like a Lego fireman. You can't see that guy in the Super Bowl. But he's just out here proving everybody wrong. There was one throw there where I was kind of like, oh, my God, that's the old Sam Darnold. It was in the fourth quarter right before he had that dart to JSN in the middle. Mm-hmm. He throws in a triple coverage where there's nobody. I was like, if that got returned for a touchdown, we're having a completely different conversation right now.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. But I love this. This to me is what football is about. The comeback story like this. You spoke about it, Wegs. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who was drafted with a lot of question marks around him to the New York Jets, surrounded by all these amazing quarterbacks that were drafted before him and around him. Didn't live up to the expectations. And hell, he's the first one to make a Super Bowl.
It is. It's true. Yeah, what we were talking about off air kind of factors in, and the usual formula to win the Super Bowl is to have a guy in his rookie deal, quarterback in his rookie deal, or a Hall of Famer. But you're kind of seeing a resurgence, especially in that era, because Baker obviously is on his fourth or fifth team too, because he was on that Carolina team with Sam Darnold. Yeah. And now he went to Tampa and has gone to the playoffs multiple years. You've got this year, he missed it. But, you've got other guys that have kind of been not retreads, but they've bounced to another team and gotten a new life. And look, I mean, it can happen. It really helps the teams out because they can juice up their defense or pay their offensive line. You've got a guy not on a mega deal like you have with Mahomes or Allen for that matter. So, look, I'm happy for the Seahawks. I'm happy for him. And obviously he's probably going to, I don't know if he's on a 1-year deal. I'm not a contract guru, but maybe he's on a 2-year deal, but he could probably get that torn up and get paid if they win the Super Bowl. So good for him. That will change the roster.
So Sam Darnold is on a 4-year, $100 million contract. And even that, when you juxtapose that to the rest of the NFL quarterback contracts out there, $25 million? That's a bargain deal for a quarterback.
Half price, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm guilty of it. I am contrite in my apology here. I thought that it was a terrible signing by the Seattle Seahawks whenever they got Sam. I thought it was absolutely horrible. I thought it was going to be just we get to laugh at the franchise on the way down, right? He has proven me wrong. He's proven a ton of other people wrong. And it's going to prove that the Seattle Seahawks front office knows what they're doing, has everything laid out the way that they had to have it laid out. Maybe they just got lucky with it, but man, they built themselves a really good team, and this can be a good team for a while.
Well, if you have a great defense, I mean, you see it in Houston. If CJ doesn't turn the ball over repeatedly, they could be in the Super Bowl, this year too.
Oh yeah,
you've got a great defense, good run game, and obviously they made a choice to go off of Metcalf too. I mean, look at that. DK Metcalf was sent to Pittsburgh. They knew what they had in JSN. He steps up. He's led the league in receiving yards. Probably will be Offensive Player of the Year this year. Him and Puka, and look at that. People might have questioned that move too. So they had maybe analytics or working on their whatever way they did to create their team, and I think it's paying off. And to your point, I think they can get back again next year. Obviously, it's a tougher road to repeat, but they've got to win this year and see what they can do next year.
I think what they got was what happens in White Man Can't Jump. I don't know if you all seen the original White Man Can't Jump, but the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. I think that might be what it is here. Augustine brought up something. He sent me a text earlier today. And he's like, Dak Prescott to the Steelers. I've heard nothing about this.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know if that's a legitimate rumor. I don't know if I should be giving this air. Has anybody heard this?
No, I haven't seen anything, dude. Like I was telling you, I've seen a couple of things about the Cowboys. Aaron Whitcotton going to the Titans, being their defensive line coach. I've seen the Cowboys getting some new coaches coming in. I haven't seen any of that at all. I mean, that kind of surprises me with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because
obviously, Dak did very well in the system with McCarthy, so I can understand it. I don't know. Would you know Dak's contract situation? He's got a year or two left on his deal. He got paid.
They just restructured his contract this upcoming season. If the Dallas Cowboys trade him, he has a dead cap space against the Dallas Cowboys of $92 million. They are not going to trade Dak Prescott anytime
Nobody's going to take that. Nobody's going to take that in there. Yeah, so I don't think that's going to happen unless they're not going to cut him for $92 million.
I mean, it sounds good if you're the Steelers, but
well, I mean,
just love those retreads over there.
Our resident Steelers fan here, he says, "No, we don't want him. We do not want Dak Prescott." So you're happy with Mike McCarthy, but you don't want Dak Prescott. I don't know.
Do they want Aaron Rodgers to return? I mean, at some point you got to draft a guy who's got some skills, because they just keep going with those older guys or second. I mean, they tried it with Fields and stuff like that, but Russell Wilson at the end of his career, Aaron Rodgers at the end of his career. It's going to be like the Colts tried for a while there with Rivers and Matt Ryan. I mean, it just doesn't work. You got to get those young guys in there. Or maybe a second-tier guy like we're talking about, a Darnold-type guy to put in that system. Who knows? Oh, Malik Willis. I like it. Let's brainstorm. I'm not a Steelers guy, but Malik might be worth it. You never know.
Right.
So whenever we were off air while we were getting ready to do the show, Blake had brought up a great question. It was like, how do you know when to move on from your quarterback? The Pittsburgh Steelers, to me, are the prime target whenever you look at a team that held on to the quarterback a little too long, right? Like the way they held on to Ben Roethlisberger, probably shouldn't have held on to him as long as they did. They probably could have moved on and, gotten another younger quarterback, done something in the draft, done any of this other nonsense. They try and go out there, they get Mitch Trubisky. They go out there, they get Kenny Pickett. They go out there and they do all these other things, and it just hasn't worked out for them. Where you look at the New England Patriots, and it's like, okay, we move on from Tom Brady. We suck for a couple of years. Now we got Drake May, and it looks like we got our guy who's – and I didn't have high expectations for Drake May, but to see what he's been able to do with this team, it just goes to show you, like, how well a franchise can be ran. I know nothing about this as a Dallas Cowboys fan because the guy that runs my franchise is senile and all kinds of crazy that he's got going on with him.
Yeah, but part of it, Mike, is the Patriots lost. They went to the bottom, and you can't get a great quarterback unless you get a little lucky, maybe in the 10 to 14 range. More often than not, you're going to pick in the top 10 or trade up. The Steelers in the playoffs every year. I mean, Tomlin, obviously, winning record or better than 500 or better for his whole career, pretty much. So it's very difficult to keep picking 20th or 23rd and getting a good quarterback. You've got to kind of sell the farm at some point, and I don't know, or you go for that younger guy who's, maybe it's a CJ Stroud or somebody who they say, hey, that guy's not going to make it in Houston, and they make a play. Although I've heard the Rams want them. That's what Dalton, co-host on Side Action, says it's going to be the Rams when Stafford retires. But either way, I mean, you can't keep trying at the end of the draft. I mean, Lamar Jackson probably and Aaron Rodgers would be one of those late rounder guys, but that's because they had a quarterback in hand. Now they don't. They've got nobody really.
So Renegade reminding us that the Pittsburgh Steelers have not had a top 10 pick since 1970. That is insanity.
They're too good.
Absolutely.
Too good every year.
That's crazy.
Must be nice, right? Like, I don't know what that's like. My team's been absolute garbage the majority of my life. Okay, so as we're talking about the New England Patriots, something comes out in the news today, which I think is just mind-blowing for a ton of people out there.
Crazy.
That a guy who won 6 Super Bowls as a coach with the New England Patriots is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I get it. The argument against him is going to be, look at his record without Tom Brady, blah, 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 blah. This just feels like it's like someone out there just didn't like Bill Belichick. It's the Barry Bonds stuff. If we ever want to talk baseball, I got you on baseball. I am not a fan of the Baseball Writers Association and what they do. You cannot bring feeling into the Hall of Fame. And Bill Belichick being not a first ballot Hall of Famer is absolute sacrilege to me. What are your thoughts, Wegs?
Well, Chuck Noll did win without Bradshaw. Montana was with Walsh, right? I mean, I don't think Walsh won with Steve Young. That was Seifert. So they are tied together, great quarterbacks and coaches. It's just, I'm sure that he was a little salty with the press. Maybe that's just kind of like a baseball thing that happens in Baseball Hall of Fame all the time. They want to stick it to the people, but it's ridiculous. He's obviously the best coach of all time in my view, even though I don't love the Patriots. He just won all those games, and he made Tom Brady. I mean, he never would have – what guy would have had the stones to bench Drew Bledsoe? I know he had an injury, but as soon as Bledsoe was healthy, they would have put him back in instead of playing this, kind of gangly guy known as Tom Brady out of Michigan, who now became the greatest quarterback of all time. So I don't know. It's a little surprising to me. I don't know the history of what quarterbacks get in their first chance or, the first ballot. But if Belichick can't get in the first ballot, nobody can.
What about you? What you got?
I mean, I don't understand it either. I think the Hall of Fame committee is kind of crazy on weird things to me. There's like Jason Witten, and a couple of things happened with a couple other players a while back ago. I don't remember how long ago this was, but I don't know. In my opinion, like Weg said, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question. There's no debate that anybody should ever have. I mean, he's got 6 Super Bowls. So I mean that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's no question where anybody should have to have a debate on is. That's like saying is Tom Brady a first ballot Hall of Famer, and if he didn't get to go in, are you not going to put him in your first ballot Hall of Fame? I am. You got to put 2 and 2 together. Bill Belichick gave Tom Brady a shot, and if it wouldn't have been Tom Brady, then who else would it have been? So
people forget he also built up the Browns. I mean, before they moved, he had that Browns team going. That's the Ray Lewis Browns back in the day. I mean, he knew how to coach. That coaching staff alone, I mean, he had Saban on that staff. I mean, the guy's been doing it forever. And plus he was, and maybe it's not, he also was the defensive coordinator for the Giants under Parcells. I mean, the guy's career is incredible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We look at him as, a head coach. He's got 6 Super Bowls. Altogether, he's got 8, right? That's a ton of things to have to not have in your Hall of Fame as a first ballot. And this isn't the first time, right? Like Blake was referring to it. This isn't the first time. We saw the Hall of Fame committee do this to Terrell Owens. And again, Terrell Owens is not the best guy out there, but whenever you retire as number 3 all time in the wide receiver list, You got to have
Right.
sort of like give the man a little bit of respect. Like, do that. Bill Belichick. So we spoke about the Super Bowl wins, right? He's also number 2 all time, 14 wins away from the most wins all time. If that's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, now you've kind of moved the bar, and it's going to be hard for you to justify any other first ballot guy.
Exactly. So, I mean, if they're not looking at Super Bowls, okay, so they're just going to bring in some guy that has 0 Super Bowls, and all they're looking at is records. I mean, is that what they're doing now? You see what I'm saying? So, like we were just talking about, the dude's got, Mike said it, altogether 8 Super Bowls. If that doesn't put you in the first ballot of Hall of Famers, I don't know what does. Like honestly, and even Bill Belichick was puzzled. He said, I'm reading this from ESPN because I just pulled it up and it just loaded. He said 6 Super Bowls isn't enough, in quotation marks. Belichick asked associate, referring to the championship he has won, head coach of the New England Patriots. He won 2 more as a defensive coordinator with the New York Giants. To another, he said, what does a guy have to do to be first ballot Hall of Famer if he doesn't have all those Super Bowls? What does he have to do? I mean, heck, he's coach. He can't go out there and strap up and play. I mean, that's just crazy to me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you can see the reaction online, right? Like, you got Patrick Mahomes is like, this is insane. I don't even understand how this is possible. JJ Watt, I can't read this. Like, I can't be reading this right. This has to be some knockoff Hall of Fame or something. It can't be the actual NFL Hall of Fame. Like, whenever you have this type of reaction from the sports world, these are just the tweets talking about it. Like, it's insane that this is what you've done because, again, I'm not a huge fan of Hall of Fame voting to begin with. I think it's super flawed, and the should speak for themselves. But if you've done this now, you have created a dangerous precedence for any other coach that's out there. You can simply now you cannot have a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. Like, you just cannot have it anymore.
Yeah, Andy Reid can't make it. He's only won 3 or something. He went to a ton of Super Bowl or won a ton of NFC Championship games before he, or got to the NFC Championship game a lot more before he went to Kansas City. Hey, what can you do? I mean, I think it's just the writers getting salty, and that's the same thing with everything. It's just, come on, guys, let's get real. With the awards balloting, sometimes it gets a lot of, they won't let a guy win twice. If you recall, Lamar Jackson last year's statistics were actually better than the year before when he won it, but they gave it to Allen. Spread the joy. It's the same kind of concept. They're not really judging based on merits. It's just kind of crazy.
And the dude also finished his coaching career with 333 wins and 178 losses.
Right.
Man, that's wild.
That's just another that's another statistic thrown out there. Like, dude, like, are you mentally ill or something wrong with you to not make this dude be first ballot Hall of Famer?
It's just like, it's going to be one of those questions we look back on in history and we're like, what the hell happened? Like, just get it. And if you saw the Apple series where they came out, well, I think Robert Kraft produced it, and they're like, oh, this is like the Patriot way, and they're like, oh, well, Bill Belichick wasn't that important. If you put that value in what Robert Kraft had to say, you're probably drunker than I am on a Friday night. Like, it's just not. It's not something to really put any value into. But alas, like he has next year, Bill Belichick has to be a Hall of Famer, right? Like, they can't do this to him.
He has to.
Yeah.
But do you think if the Patriots, this is going to the other topic, if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, are you discounting what he did, or saying because he had a dip at the end of his career that maybe it was it's the Patriot way? I mean, that's kind of what Kraft was just trying to say even at the award ceremony when they got the Lamar Hunt trophy. He's like, 2 years after Belichick left or whatever. It's like, okay, slow down. You guys have this weakest strength of schedule in the history of time. So just pump the brakes, big guy.
Well, and not just that. You look at who their head coach is right now, and Mike Vrabel was a linebacker for Bill Belichick, who's a great defensive coach. We all can say it. Belichick was a great defensive coach. So, I mean, it's wild. Again, it's wild. But as we're on the topic of head coaches now, let's finally, we've been trying to do this for 2 weeks, guys. Let's finally get on the coaching carousel and see who's been out there, see who some of the new head coaches are, new faces in some new places. Let's start off with one that we had already kind of mentioned. We glossed over a little bit. Mike McCarthy. The Pittsburgh Steelers fire Mike Tomlin, who goes 10-7 every year, goes to the first round of the playoffs, and loses. They hire Mike McCarthy, who goes 12-5 and loses in the first round of the playoffs every year. What the hell is going on here with that, Wegs?
I'm not a Steelers fan. One of my cousins, a huge Steelers fan, he messaged me about it. I mean, I guess they just want kind of the same steady Eddie status quo because they don't want to rock the boat. I thought for sure, and he's still out there in the market. I still can't believe Flores doesn't have a job. I thought this was a perfect job for Flores to come in and just get that defense hyped up, get a good offensive coordinator and kind of rebuild that steel curtain. I just think that when you look at that family, the Rooney family is a little traditional and conservative. What's surprising about this too is because they've only had 3 coaches in the history of their team. Isn't that right? They've got Tomlin, Cowher, and Knoll. So McCarthy's not young. So this is almost a stopgap type thing. He's not going to coach for another 15 years. He'll give him 5 to 7 at best, and probably more like 2 to 3. So I'm a little shocked by it. I think it's a bit of a mistake. Maybe it's just an effort to try to keep Rodgers in the building, I guess. I don't know. I was a little baffled by it, and he still doesn't have an OC and DC right now. So we'll see what they put together. I really think it's just kind of trying to keep that old core together, which I think they kind of got to strip it down to the studs and start over.
What about you, Blake? What are your thoughts on Mike McCarthy getting hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I love it. I'm not knocking him. I'm not. There's nothing to knock. I mean, he's got a winning record. I would hire a guy with a winning record too. He's above 500. He's right at 600 for his career. 0.600. He's 185 wins and 123 losses. That's not bad, but it ain't good. I mean, it's mediocre. I mean, you got to look at the other coaches too that are in the NFL too. I like it. There ain't nothing else I can say. He's won a Super Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers at his prime, but yes.
Well, I mean, that's also the thing, right? So you had mentioned it right now, Wegs. It's like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is in the building. Maybe we keep Aaron Rodgers here. Aaron Rodgers got him fired.
He did.
Like, let's not forget about that, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers got Mike McCarthy fired because he just wasn't good enough to win a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, right? Which feels more of like an Aaron Rodgers problem than anyone else's problem, but that's another topic for another day. I agree with you. Like, the Pittsburgh Steelers, you talk about this franchise, one of the most storied franchises. I grew up in the 90s. I'm a Cowboys fan. I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Like, there was such a rivalry.
Oh, yeah. I hate them too.
But you have to give, like, flowers where they're due, right? You've had 3 coaches since 1969. 3 coaches. That is an amazing amount of stability. Mike McCarthy has had 3 head coaching jobs in the last decade. That's not a guy that I feel like you hold on to and can say, okay, this is a great coaching hire, right? Like, you look at what he did with the Cowboys. Sure, 3 straight seasons of going 12-5. What did you do in those seasons? You lost in the first round of each one of them, right? I get it. He's the head coach. He's not the offensive coordinator. Oh, wait, he was calling plays for the Dallas Cowboys. So he was the offensive coordinator for him. I feel like Mike McCarthy would be a great offensive coordinator.
I agree too.
Exactly. Or a defensive coordinator, because they did have the 3 seasons he was with the Cowboys, they did have great defenses on top of having him calling plays. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying he would be a good fit for a defensive coordinator, but, I mean, it's in the mix. He could either be both. But like you're saying, I don't think it – I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily hired him for a head coaching job right away until the opportunity came. If you're there, you fit in the system, okay, let's put you somewhere as far as like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, or something. Because, I mean, he was a great QB coach. He learned a lot. Dak learned a lot of things from Mike McCarthy. I mean, I'm not saying he's one of the greatest QB coaches, but, I mean, he could be definitely be a fit for a QB coach. I mean, heck, like he said, with the Green Bay Packers and then coaching the Cowboys, I mean, yeah, he might not have taken Dak Prescott to the Super Bowl, but, I mean, he led Aaron Rodgers to the Super Bowl. They all had winning records. Every team he's been with has winning records. So, I mean, and they've had one of the most top-notch offenses in the league with him coaching. And
They do,
as far
Blake,
as
but the difference here is that with Green Bay, he came in and he had the keys to a pretty good offense when he started, right? So it wasn't like he was rebuilding it from scratch. Maybe they, at the end of Favre's career, they kind of wallowed just a little bit. And as a Bears fan, I saw many games where the Packers beat the hell out of us. But he gets to the Cowboys, they moved on from Garrett, who was kind of this kind of middling guy. And then he took them to a good level, but he couldn't win the big game. Like, are you trying to win a Super Bowl if you're a Steelers fan? I would think I would be. You're going to be in a conference where you still have Mahomes. You got Burrow in the conference, Allen. Now you got Drake May and the Patriots. You've got problems. You got Lamar Jackson in your division. Don't you want to start either a reset or get to a point where you're dominant again? Because right now they're kind of in the middle. They either got to go up or down. I don't think McCarthy's going to bring them to the Super Bowl. He doesn't have concepts that are going to revolutionize the game. And on the flip side, I just think they're an older team. They got to kind of build from the stud, like strip it down and get some youth. And again, a younger coach who's got a little more fire, even if it's an offensive guy. I just think that'd be a better fit. But I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm glad, like with the Bears, trust me, we've been struggling for years. And now I do think Ben Johnson is the guy who can win a Super Bowl. He's not going to just sit there and be okay with just making the playoffs. He's going to push to the limit or break. And I appreciate that versus just kind of staying in the middle, right. 9-8, 10-7 every year.
I feel like what happened here is the Pittsburgh Steelers just went like full Spider-Man meme, right? They fired Mike McCarthy, who's pointing, or they fired Mike Tomlin, who's pointing right at Mike McCarthy because they're the same damn guy. Like it's wild to me. But our guy Renegade Rundown 24 says 11-6 season loading. I mean, hey, it's better than
a good year.
Hey, it could happen though.
I mean, it's more than likely going to happen. I think that's the thing. I think if you're going to fire Mike Tomlin, you have to go out there and make a splash. You have to do something that's going to really rock the boat out there. You basically hired Mike Tomlin light. Like it's the exact same dude. I don't understand this at all.
Exactly.
Well,
basically, you're bringing it in.
In a year we had 10 vacancies. I get it. It's a crazy year. There's so much talent out there. But you were in it kind of early in the process. You had a chance to get kind of whoever you wanted. I mean, Harbaugh was kind of off the market, and that might have been weird for him to go from Baltimore to Pittsburgh. But you had other guys to pick from. If you like Saleh or you like somebody, you could have made a sweetheart deal. But, hey, they like McCarthy. He wowed them in the interview process,
One-time Sports Talk saying you need to at least upgrade. Doesn't need to be a splash, so to speak, but at least some sort of an upgrade. And Wegs, you mentioned it. I just looked it up right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers were the oldest team in the NFL this year.
They are.
The oldest team in the NFL this year. If you're trying to hold on to what's left of Aaron Rodgers' Achilles, you're not making a Super Bowl. Like, it feels like you'll have a winning record. You might make it to the playoffs. You might not make it to a playoffs. You're going to be one of those fringe teams. Why did you fire Mike Tomlin then? Because that's exactly what you were going to get.
Right. Agreed.
Some of the other coaching hires that are out there, let's go ahead and we're going to do this chronologically now because we haven't been able to talk about it for 2 weeks because I'm a terrible host whenever it comes to some of this.
Oh, you're the man, brother.
John Harbaugh to the New York Giants. To me, hands down, the best hire the Giants could have done. And as a Cowboys fan, I am terrified. What about you, Blake?
I don't know too much.
There's a lot of talent there, man. There's a lot of talent there.
Well, I mean, you also got to say this. As like one-time Sports Talk, as a Cowboys fan, I will tell you, as you already know, it's not an upgrade. Okay, yes, that is currently correct. I mean, it's not necessarily an upgrade because, he's got to come in to a team that is full rebuild mode for the past 4 years, quote, to speak. I mean, I don't know where their head's been. I mean, they got a team that's gone all kinds of different directions. So, yes, if you bring a guy in like John Harbaugh, who can kind of kindle all that and just kind of bring it at least together, That'll probably take a good couple of seasons. Okay. Then you're already in those 2 seasons. Are you going to do something different? Are you going to change something? Are you going to bring in new hires? Are you going to bring in different coaching staff? Are you going to bring in? They have their quarterback. I see future potential.
They do.
Jack Dart. I mean, that dude's he's crazy good. And for anybody else out there as far as sports world who looks at a rookie QB and says, "Oh man, Jackson Dart's not ready." Yes, he is. He is ready. He's ready to take on that role. And y'all seen it through the regular season. He is ready. I just think you have to get, if John Harbaugh and Jackson Dart can come together and just make a dynamic duo, and they have the defense to back them up, at least mediocre, at least. Perfect. I call it perfect.
Wegs,
At
can
least.
you talk me off the ledge here, because I look at the Giants. I like Jackson Dart. If they get Cam Scatterboo back or not, what version of Cam Scatterboo is he going to be? I like Tyrone Tracy. I think Tyrone Tracy is a very underrated running back. You looked at the resurgence last year of guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard's still there, and by the way, we're going to get Malik Neighbors back.
That's right.
And not just to mention, they have a phenomenal defensive line. Like, this feels like the makings of a perfect storm, that they could be really good for a really long time, or maybe John Harbaugh's just not that guy, but I'm not leaning towards that side right now.
Yeah, I think if you're a Cowboys fan, you should be a little worried. I do think you should be worried. They don't have their offensive coordinator in place yet. They got the defensive coordinator from the Titans. So he's, I don't know if that's an upgrade. I mean, the thing is, they just needed fresh faces there with this young team. Denard Wilson is his name, out of Tennessee. I think what's going to happen is either Clint Kubiak or maybe Mike LaFleur, somebody's going to jump ship somewhere to fill this offensive coordinator role, and you guys are in trouble, because you get Jackson Dart, Neighbors comes back. They probably pick up some linemen and then maybe some secondary help with that defensive line. This team's competitive right away. I mean, I know that division, we know the Eagles are good. Dallas has been pretty good. Washington had a good season, but they certainly could be a team that can jump up, because without those injuries early in the season, they were in every game. They just couldn't hold up over the course of the season. And obviously, Dart's going to not run the ball as much. So also, I think Harbaugh's a good choice. He's going to bring an attitude. And I just think he lost the locker room in Baltimore because it's been the same voice for 18 years. And I think that you'll see they'll have a different resurgence with Minter. We'll talk about him in a minute. But in the end, great hire. And, yeah, you should be worried. The Giants are going to be at least competitive in every single game.
That part of the league, the NFC East, is so wishy-washy every year. Mm-hmm. You don't know what team you're going to get that year. Cowboys, I mean, they had 3 seasons, like we just said. Mike McCarthy, 12-5. And, there's been a new NFC East champion every single year. So, I mean,
except for this one, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Except for this one. But I'm just saying, like, it's so wishy-washy. Any team can do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's so up and down. This is the only hold on.
So you talk about teams that are like moving up and down, right? Like, I always do this. You judge them by the barometer. For me, the talent that the New York Giants have, that's a team that's on the way up. Like, undoubtedly, they're on the way up, unless this winds up being a catastrophic hire, which I doubt that it's going to be, because this is a pretty solid coach, right? Unless it's something terrible, they're going to make some noise. And that's really all you want right now if you're a Giants fan. Let's make some noise. But I think the future's looking good for them. A team that I'm not so sure on right now is the Baltimore Ravens. I know they just hired Jesse Minter. You alluded to that right now. Right. But it feels like they've either plateaued or they're going to take a step back. And I feel like I'm leaning more towards them taking a step back.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that it's all about, can Lamar be a real pocket passer? We know that when healthy, he's the best weapon in the NFL. But you saw it this year, not at 100%. He was getting caught. He wasn't as elusive. He couldn't make the big plays. And that's scary if you're a Ravens fan. So they really got to pick up. And Derrick Henry, who is a freak of nature, we all know this. He's whatever, 6'4", 245, and can run a 4.2, and he's like 32 years old. But at some point, he's going to age. They need to get a little younger. Andrews is getting up there too. So I think Minter is going to try to fix the defense, and they don't have, from what my notes say, they don't have an OC or a DC right now. So it's going to really depend on what system he's going to put in. So I hear you. I think the Ravens are going to they have talent. We know that, but they missed their window. Their two best years were the last 2 years, and they should have probably beat the Chiefs a couple of years ago and probably won the Super Bowl. And then this last year, not this season, the season before, they shouldn't have blown it at Buffalo. But hey, it's the NFL. It's hard to last for a really long time in there.
Justin David Kish saying, glad my Chargers kept Tart rather than lose him to Baltimore. We're talking about the Baltimore Ravens right now, Blake. I feel like they've plateaued. Wegs and I both feel like they're probably going to take a step back. What are your thoughts on here? I know they just got Jets, but what are your thoughts on here?
Yeah, I feel like they're going to take a step back too. You might see a couple of changes here and there as far as like with free agency, As far as John Harbaugh's mistake of getting rid of Derrick Henry, that was kind of my big thing. I was like, what the? Like, I wouldn't have done something like that, honestly. I mean, he's just a once-in-a-lifetime kind of running back, honestly, in my opinion. But
I mean, we did see him struggle holding on to the ball this year. Like, that was one of his things. He fumbled in big moments.
Yeah.
Huge moments.
Yeah, but I do agree with y'all. I feel like the Ravens will probably end up taking a step back, trying to rebuild a little bit, and hopefully they can get something going. I do love the Rams. I've always liked the Rams. As far as the AFC, I'm a Rams guy. As far as the AFC,
in NFC,
I think it's a pretty good hire. Hopefully, I'm not saying that it's a John Harbaugh hire, or that kind of criteria, but I feel like if he can come in and make some noise, he's a defensive coordinator. Let's see if he's a DeMeco Ryan type of guy. If he can be a DeMeco Ryan type of guy and just build a good offensive coordinator around him, I think that's a solid hire. But like y'all are saying, it's going to take a good couple of years before anything really starts to kick off, just because, he's got the head coaching job now rather than having just the defensive coordinator. It's a different role, but hopefully they take it pretty good, I'd say.
On Time Sports Talk saying they need to figure out the D in Baltimore. Lamar wasn't right all year with his injuries. And as far as Derrick Henry goes, Father Time is knocking on that door. Not Tom Brady. I can guarantee you that. What we saw with Tom Brady is an anomaly. It will never happen again in our lifetimes. Derrick Henry, age is going to eventually catch up to him. Justin going on and saying the Ravens wide receiver room, I didn't see a lot of confidence in Zay Flowers. Regressed, and Bateman is okay-ish, and Hopkins is just there. Hopkins was like just a warm body. That's all he was.
He's like 34 or 35 now, isn't he? He's old, right? I mean,
he's got to be at least 217. He's older than this country right now. One of the hires that I thought was interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. I like the talent that's in Atlanta. I still like Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a more than capable quarterback, but I also like Michael Penix. I'm a lefty. I always roll with the lefty quarterback, even though Tua is trying to make me hate left-handed quarterbacks. But you look at the Browns firing Kevin Stefanski, who was a two-time coach of the year, who coached Shedeur Sanders to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. Kevin Stefanski now with the Atlanta Falcons. How are we feeling about this one, Wiggs?
Dude, he's got Bijan Robinson. He's the ultimate weapon. And this guy was not underutilized. He had some games that were big. You're going to have a Bijan-centered offense. You've got, all of a sudden, the end of the year, you've got Kyle Pitts catching the ball. Where was this guy his whole career? And obviously you got Drake London. So you have the makings of a very good offense. I think Stefanski escaped Cleveland. They did him a favor. Thank God he's out of Cleveland. I mean, that is just it's a terrible organization. Nobody wants to interview for that job. Everybody's pulling their names out if you're checking things out. So Stefanski could be that guy on his second team that has a breath of fresh air. I think he's hired this. He keeps Ulbrich, who was the defensive coordinator, who really got that defense playing much better than they did in years past. And he brings Tommy Reese with him as the OC. So, look, if he can make Joe Flacco look great at the end of his career, Shedeur Sanders produce in his, washout rookie year, He's going to get it done. I think they're going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL next yeyear.
Pro Bowl rookie year is what you meant for Shedeur Sanders. That Pro Bowl.
That's right. Sorry, I misspoke.
Touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 1,400 yards. Pro Bowl rookie year. What are your thoughts on the hire of Kevin Stefanski to the Atlanta Falcons there, Blake?
I like it. I'm going. I seen Justin Kish's little thing. I like it too. That's what's one of those Baltimore hires too. Yeah, I feel like if they can just group their guys right, sort their offensive coordinator right, sort their defensive coordinator right, get the right guys in that can manage the QBs, manage the defense, manage the offense. You get the right guys in there. I mean, the sky's the limit with any team in the NFL. Any team in the NFL can have any potential. There's potential out there. You just got to find it.
Not the Jets. Okay. I think we can unequivocally say not the Jets.
Well, okay.
The Jets and Browns, but yeah.
At least not right now. We don't know. As far as, the Jets just don't make no moves. They don't make any moves when it's time.
Nobody wants to interview for the Jets coordinator positions. It's terrible. It's kind of sad. And they have both offensive, defensive coordinators available. Nobody wants to interview for them.
Whoa. On-time Sports Talk saying the Pro Bowl is an absolute joke. Now I give no credit to making the Pro Bowl for years now. No credit.
It's flag football. It's flag football now, isn't it?
Dude, that is freaking terrible. Dude, I grew up watching Ray Lewis knocking people's heads off in the Pro Bowl.
Sean Taylor with that hit on Brian Moorman.
Oh my God.
Was the greatest Pro Bowl.
I'm just saying. It went from that to, excuse my language, but chicken shit football. Like, what is this? Like, you're paying these guys millions of dollars, and you got guys now that decline from the Pro Bowl if they go to the Super Bowl. Perfect, in my opinion. You can easily get hurt. I love that. Well, but for the other guys coming in, they have nothing going on. I mean, at least throw some pads on them. At least hit a little bit. Throw in another QB. If you get hit too much, just throw in another QB. You can get 4 on your roster. 4 or 5.
They used to be in Hawaii. They used to get a trip to Hawaii. Now it's, where do they play at? Florida somewhere? I didn't even know where they play.
Right? Yeah. I think one year they did it in Vegas. I would have been down for that. Go to Hawaii or Vegas, one of those two places. But I guess Vegas doesn't have the same appeal that it used to because now you got the Raiders there. So I guess right. But I just want to play devil's advocate here, right? I'm not saying I believe this, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Mm-hmm. If you're an owner of an NFL team and you have $50 million in a quarterback and that quarterback gets hurt in the Pro Bowl, you are raising all kinds of hell. I don't care who you are. You are not happy with it. And then if you are that quarterback that's making $50 million a year and you get hurt in that game, you're raising all kinds of hell too. Like, it's just, for me, I don't like all-star games to begin with. I love the NBA all-star weekend, not the game itself. My birthday, February 17th, normally lands around all-star time, so that's my only gift I ask for. The kids leave me alone. Let me watch the dunk contest, even though I hate
the dunk contest. Yeah.
But any all-star game to me now, I think we can just give them the honors of being an all-star. We don't need to see them on the field.
Yeah, baseball's not a bad all-star game. I like that one, besides Homer Derby too. But I don't know. It's tough. The Pro Bowl is just unwatchable. I don't mind seeing those competitions that they do, the quarterback competitions and whatever. But, yeah, it's flag football now. It's no fun. That's for sure.
On Time Sports saying, how many injuries can you remember happening in the Pro Bowl? I can't think of one. I agree with you on that. But what I'm going to say is, where there's football, there's the possibility of an injury. We all know that. So that's what it is right there. All right, Blake, we got less than a minute right now. What were your final thoughts? I know I'm throwing this on you right now. Final thoughts we can go into next week.
As far as like what we want to talk about, or just like how the week's ending, like what do you like?
How the week's ending? What'd you see this week?
I don't know, man. I like the 2 hires. Definitely that the Atlanta Falcons and the Ravens got. Like I told y'all earlier, if they can just kindle the right group, make it the right decision, making the right decisions based on gameplay, not like the players that they have. Because any player can step up any moment, make good decisions and good, as far as being out there in the field. But if you bring in the right coaches and they do the right things and they do exactly what they know can quote unquote win in the NFL, I think those are two good hires, especially, you know, I don't really know too much about the two hires to say a lot about them, but I do know when 9 times out of 10, if you get a new coach in there with the right team that's making the right moves, who's somewhat out of a rebuild or getting like kind of close to being done out of a rebuild, I think it's two good hires, especially when you got young guys. You almost have a fresh start at that point when you get to that. So I'm in the week on that, honestly. I love that. Love those two decisions that they made. Perfect, in my opinion.
All right, Wegs, your final thoughts on today's show.
Today's show was great. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to be thinking this whole week, how is it possible for the Patriots to beat the Seahawks team that looks dominant? So I'll be doing some research, giving you some ideas. But yeah, overall, great show. Appreciate it. You're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Once again, thank you so much for watching us here on the Lockdown Coverage Podcast. We are live on the Prime Coverage Sports Network. We'll be here every Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're breaking down the Super Bowl. You better not get tired of it because we're just going to shove it down your throats. That sounded bad. That's a terrible way to end the show. Have a great week, everybody.